In real estate, your job isn't just to close deals, it's to set one qualified appointment every single day. That's the lead measure that drives everything. In today's session, Mark Ramey breaks down the mindset, the systems, and the consistency behind the agents who win. If you want results, you need focus, and it starts right here.
All of that should lead to an appointment. Our whole goal, our job each and every single day is to basically do one thing, guys, and write this down. My job, and write it out right in front of you, to remind yourself every single day, morning, noon, and night, your one job is to find one qualified listing appointment every day. Not bragging or boasting, it took me until 6:45 last night to find a qualified lead, but I had to find one. That is your job. Without finding a qualified lead every day means that your goals will slowly not happen. Okay? So again, lead measure is something, or is anything that is done before the goal. Are we all clear on that? Okay? Okay. A lag measure is the result or the outcome of doing your job every single day. 20 contacts, 5 quality conversations, and every week it should add up to 100 contacts. It should equal 4 leads, and it should equal 1 appointment. 2 appointments, 1 listing taken. That's generally how it works in our system. Some are higher level than others. Yes.
You know how the other day you were all upset because you were like, man, it took me forever?
Yeah.
Do we sometimes
Me?
have days where we go dry, like no one's motivated, everyone hates us, like it happens. And then there's other days because you set those seeds, you did your numbers every day, where like Dave today set 3 appointments. That's a function of hitting the numbers daily. It's not like he got lucky.
True. So that's the lag measure, is the result of the outcome based upon our activities. Oh, we all 100% clear on that. What is our number one job every single day, ladies and gentlemen?
Set one qualified appointment.
Set one qualified appointment. And not every day you're going to do one, but hey, maybe the next day you'll set 3. Right? As long as you're consistent in your lead measures, your lag measures will happen.
What Dave said, Jess, by the way, thank you for the clarity. We all could use this, and including myself, because we're all in the 4th quarter and we're all looking at, okay, what's our next year going to look like? And that was so valuable. The lesson of one is the lesson of us all, guys. There's not one of us on this call, including Jess, Dave, and I, that need to focus and pay attention to that. And then Dave, your clarity on lead measures in the time that you've just known them was awesome. So think about a lead measure as something that's going to get you your goal, right? So like what Dave said, a lead measure to a nurture or an appointment is what?
20 contacts.
I have to make I have to make contacts.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Get nurture. I have to make contacts to set an appointment. A lead measure to a listing contract signed or a buyer brokerage signed is what?
It's a lead measure, no?
It's a requirement, right? Like a qualified listing appointment.
Think about it this way. Exactly. A lead measure to a contract signed is an appointment fund. So you're exactly. Don't worry, guys. If you're right or wrong, we're all here to learn. Okay. So then a lead measure to getting something under contract, an under contract is not a listing contract or a buyer brokerage, right? An under contract is a purchase contract, right? So a lead measure to a purchase contract, or what we would know as an under contract, is a what?
Lag measure?
No, a lead measure to purchase contract, which is what will close, right? Is what? It would be a lead measure to a purchase contract. We have to have the listing.
Yeah.
Or we have the buyer brokerage agreement. Does that make sense? Leading means it's coming before. So for us to get a nurture, I have to make a contact. For us to get an appointment, I have to make a contact. For me to get a listing signed or a buyer brokerage agreement signed, as you just said, Fonzo, I have to have an appointment. If I don't have an appointment, then I can't get that agreement signed. Make sense? Once I have the listing or the buyer brokerage signed, now I'm working with a seller or I'm working with a buyer.
Mm-hmm.
That is a lead measure to an under contract or a purchase contract. And then a purchase contract is a lead measure to a what? What do we all
Close.
want? What is
Money
it?
results.
Closing.
Mhm.
Okay. So the reason that we bring this up and the value to knowing lead measures and lag measures, the point of it is this. Okay. If I have, X number of transactions in my pipeline and they're closing, what should I be looking at today? Should I be going to that closing pipeline and saying, oh, look, I have X number of closings and I've got this much money coming in? Or should I be starting my day at 0 and saying,
Mhm.
these are my lead measures. I got to go for this. Because
Lead measures.
thank you. That is the point, gentlemen and ladies, is it's not, it's, and our mind is set up so that we move away from pain and we move towards
right.
pleasure. How good does it feel when I go and I look at my closing board and I see what I've got closing? Okay, it feels good. Great. Celebrate for 10 seconds and then
Mhm. Get back to it.
get right back to, in other words, we're starting every day at 0, right? Even though we may have some pendings in the pipeline, that's not what we're here to think about.
Hmm.
We're here to think about our lead measures, and the lead measures are what bring us results. So let's review again. Who wants to tell me the first lead measure in the sales process? What do we have to do?
Making contacts.
Contacts.
Then those bring us to
Nurtures.
or
Appointments.
Appointment.
Straight up appointments.
correct. An appointment is going to get us what?
Listing signed.
Signed contract.
A listing agreement.
Correct. So the appointment is the lead measure to a listing agreement or a buyer brokerage agreement, right?
Yes.
We have to be focused on the lead measure, right? And then the buyer brokerage agreement or the listing agreement is the lead measure to
Closing.
no, an under contract, right?
Yeah.
Under contract offers. Mm-hmm.
Under contract is next. And then once we get something under contract, it's in our pipeline. Okay, great. Admin or whatever, we block the time for that. But our focus as salespeople, professional salespeople, has always got to be on the lead measures. And the reason that it's so important to hone in on this is energy goes where focus goes.
Hmm.
I'm writing that down.
That's Tony Robbins right there.
Mm-hmm.
If our focus is not on what's going to bring us our result, then that's where we lose our sense of urgency. That's when, and I'm victim of I have done this myself. That's when I'm on the phone with the doctor's office and the doctor says, well, we have an appointment at 8 a.m., Mr. Ramey. Will that work? No. What do we got to say at that point? We have to say, no, I need an afternoon appointment, right? Or
Mhm.
if I'm on the phone with, someone that wants to set a listing appointment with me. Well, can you meet in the morning? No.
Mm-hmm.
Are afternoons or evenings better for you? Or if we have to meet in the morning, can you do Saturday? Do you see now how that level of focus,
Mhm.
D.
we're not settling because we're not giving up the time that we need in our schedule so that we can accomplish the lead measures that will ultimately get us what we want.
I'm going
Is
to
that-
take it one step further
Yeah.
because that first year I had no skills. I know I look crazy. So I had to talk to 50 people a day in order to set at least one listing appointment. And sometimes I didn't because I just wasn't a skilled prospector yet. I was brand new to it. And what Mark is saying is so accurate that people in my office called me a bitch. Like literally everyone hated me. They were like, she's so mean. She's so busy, but you have to guard your time and Fonzo, this is probably an issue for you where you are because people like to talk to you. They want to hang out with you, and you're like, I'm busy, bro. Like, I have things to do.
I left my office for that reason and I got my own.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's okay to be so guarded with your time that
Yeah.
people give you a hard time about it because that's how important this is. And the other thing that is like one step further is you're going to have people that you talk to that tell you, I'm a level 2 motivation. Hang up the phone. Like, don't
Mm,
waste time with these people.
mm-hmm.
If they tell you like, oh, I could stay and blah blah blah, and you don't have like a high level of skills yet, and you have to talk to a lot of people, don't even waste your time with those folks. Move forward to someone else that says, yeah, I'm paying 2 mortgages. Can you get it sold? Sorry, Mark.
No, thank you for that. That makes perfect sense. And here's the thing to consider, right? You all have heard of the Indy 500, right?
Wow.
Or NASCAR, right? Now, some of these drivers, they win by tenths of a second,
Hmm.
right? What causes that level of everyone being right there is the competition within themselves. And so what that means is really there's two things that keep us from getting our lead measures. It's the small things, the really, really small things, like the pit crew practices over and over and over so that they can get the driver out. It's these little things like when, for us as salespeople, right? We're pros that when someone from church calls and says, I really need this. Can you? Well,
And then,
we've got to look at it from a perspective of, all right, if I do my job, what can I bring to my church really? Versus if I just give, and give more than I can afford, where I really don't have anything, then who am I really serving? Okay, so it's these little things. So the external is one factor that will take us away from getting our lead measures. What's the other thing that'll do it? It's not the external, internal. Okay. The internal is so much more damaging and destructive than the external. Because when we have our internal on and we know our why, right? Why am I showing up at 7:45 every morning? Why am I saying no to taking whatever in the morning? Why am I doing that? It's because I've made a decision that I want certain things in my life. And our brain wants the easiest way out. I don't know about you all, but we should probably check our email while we're doing this. Or maybe, you know what? I probably need to go feed the cats. Honestly, there was a time in my real estate career, you know what my office was? And Frank can attest to this because he was in the office. Frank, what was my office at KW Classic before we were in the big room together?
Yeah, it was just like a working station
I was
that
in a
small,
It was a
focusing on
closet,
it.
like an old school telephone booth.
Yeah.
Yes, I was in a closet, had no windows, and it literally was like 36 inches by 36 inches. And that's it. And it was, and everybody knew, do not open that door or knock
Yeah.
on my, right? So if we're responsible for protecting that space, and we're responsible internally for protecting that space. So if we're noticing a habit of our mind, like one of my habits is, you're kind of hungry right now, aren't you? Maybe you should go to the kitchen and go to the pantry. Well, what I've been doing is thanks, mind. You're right. I might be hungry. And yet we're going to make one more call before we go have that snack. And it's me, having control over my mind that just wants to run the show and be the puppeteer. Does that make sense, everybody? So that's why lag measures are so important. And I wanted to share a little bit around some of the things that throw me off, me going for my lead measures. And I think I said lag measures, so lead measures. All right. So here's another thing that I wanted to share with y'all. How many legs does a stool need or a chair need so that it can stand? Very good, Alex. You and I were talking about this about a week ago. Here's the question that I would have for you all. As we move into 2026, part of a business plan, and you will be doing business plans, right? How many of you are not going to do a business plan? Please raise your hand. If you're not going to do a business plan, raise your hand. Okay, good. Everybody's doing a business plan. So as we move in, what we need to be thinking about is if our business is going to be sustainable, we need to have at least 3 legs of sources of business for our stool to be able to stand. Our stool is our business, right? So what I want y'all to think of, like, for example, you know, the legs of my stool are probate, past clients and center of influence, and creative deals. That's going to be my focus going into 2026. Now, as you do this, when you're making this plan, there's 2 things that we can do with when we identify the legs of our business. Number 1, we can identify where we were, which is what caused us to be successful in it. And then we're going to see the number of what that was, right? Whatever that looked like, how much we accomplished. And then we're going to identify, where do I want to go? And typically, if you can increase your goals by 20% in a year's time, that is off the charts amazeballs. It is really awesome. Okay. So what I'd like you to do as you go into processing your business plans is I want you to identify those 3 legs of business. What are they for you? Where are you going to devote your time and energy? And then I need you to also look at where you did really well over the course of the last year or over the course of time, where your skills are really well, what's working right in those areas, and then identify if you're going to raise that goal by 10%, 20% for next year, what will you need to do in those 3 legs? Each one is a separate business plan. You're going to have to come up with like 1 to 3 things tops as to, all right, if I'm going to grow my expired business, maybe instead of starting calls at 9:15, I will be making those calls at 7:45 a.m. That's just an example. I'm not saying that's what you guys have to do. I'm just trying to give you an example, okay? Because the legs of our business, those lead sources are what legs are what's going to determine our outcomes. And if we're very specific about what we're going to do in each aspect of those columns that we're looking for results, then it's going to make it a lot easier. And then we can take what we're supposed to do, and then that becomes our lead measure. Does that make sense, everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Any questions on this? I'm sorry, David, I don't have my glasses on, but I'm guessing you wrote down what I said.
I did. I wrote mine out: pay per lead, expireds, probates, vacants.
Good.
Supplemented with the dialer, meaning someone on an Enzo dialer that I pay X amount of dollars per month to get me leads every day.